lot of tanks. Quite a few Goliaths as well and Vultures, and one single Valkyrie and Goliath here from the back of the left side. Gonna pick off Lorcus and just gonna start picking at these Guardians with, but especially I think with the Valkyrie, Joe's gonna be able to be successful. One Scourge gonna hit the Valkyrie. Thankfully, Goliath managed to pick off the second Scourge, so the Valkyrie stays in the game and the Guardians get cleared off. So the Guardian strategy for effort kind of a mixed bag. Gonna lose some more Overlords here. So the Guardians managed to clear the 3 o'clock position for some time and deny mining there for at least a full minute, but meanwhile trying to go for that main. They did pick off an armory before we got any upgrades going and a supply depot, but overall losing a lot of Guardians, losing a lot of resources to that. So I'm not quite sure whether he's going to take it. I definitely think he would have wanted to accomplish some more. And Midas, unfortunately for him, he doesn't really have much mining aside from the 3 o'clock position. He's already mined out his natural expansion, his main, mostly mined out at this point as well. So he really has to make sure he protects this 3 o'clock position and gets another base going, because effort gonna start getting his 5th going. He still has resources at every single one of his bases, not nearly as heavily saturated. Of course, Zerg players tend to not be nearly as heavily saturated. Midas, I think, is trying to build that base at the upper right hand, but just can't be in a position to do that. Meanwhile, now the 12 o'clock position, which has effort, also completely missed him taking the 12 o'clock position. Bunch of tanks and Goliaths is going to come in here. Small bunch of these. Scan off, picking everything up, picking up Goliaths, picking off drones that are morphing in, and hope to start sieging and picking that off. Even more reinforcements coming in. So at the very least, he's going to deny one of these bases and hoping that effort doesn't manage to completely barrel over him, because he does have a heavy army. Any additional Guardians or some such are going to get taken care of thanks to those Valkyries. And still don't see any science vessels out there, so he's just utilizing his scans mostly. And I'm wondering whether we're going to be seeing a tech switch, or rather not a tech switch, but just a continuation of tech for Midas. Fuse Cracklings coming in here to the 3 o'clock position, but a tank in position to defend that. Some more Zerglings coming in, and Midas really has to make sure that base stays defended. Doesn't have any troops here really. That one tank sieged up and going to get taken care of. Only a few Vultures, and those Zerglings with 2 and 2 upgrades, while the mech forces of Midas have only weapons to upgrade. Still very effective, but not the best. Gonna lose a bunch of tanks here near the middle, kind of outside of Midas's base. There are still some Guardians being produced there by effort, outside of effort space, I'm sorry. But yeah, still some Guardians being produced by effort, and those Valkyries, as long as they stay in place, should be able to take care of that alongside those Goliaths, just to be very careful against those Scourge, and has to be careful to unsiege his tanks, because losing a lot of these tanks needlessly, not in the best of positions to be. Did manage to deny the 12 o'clock position. Still don't think he's taken any additional bases aside from the 3rd one. Really needs to start expanding and thinking about his economy. Maybe even pick up the 6 o'clock position, which he is picking up right now. I know it's a little bit close to effort. He might decide to utilize Guardians against that, but with those Valkyries close by, he should be able to handle that. Also has a lot of Goliaths in there. Just has to be very careful to keep his tanks alive, run them away, siege tank against them. Get a few shots off under that Dark Swarm and hope to kill him with a splash damage. Does have those 2 armories, still working on the upgrades. Guardians are going to come in play here, engage those Goliaths, but the Goliaths are going to be able to engage those Valkyries toe-to-toe. I'm sorry, those Guardians toe-to-toe, and pick most of them off. All of them off, in fact. Not too much damage done, but these Cracklings doing a hell of a lot of damage. With these tanks, of course, sieged up, just stay in place and take the hits. And he's yet again now pressuring the upper left position. Might still stay in this game, though. He's going to start mining at the 6 o'clock, so he's going to have 2 mining bases. He's going to be able to continue pumping out these mech forces. But I feel he has kind of neglected his Vultures a little bit. Still should have some mines across the map to kill off some of these Zerglings. Meanwhile, trying to pressure at the upper left position. He has a lot of tanks in there, but Zerglings coming in from all sides. Thinks he's going to lose all of his tanks in here. Yes, he is losing his entire position at that upper left hand. So effort's still on 5 bases. I think his main at this point is mining out. His natural expansion probably doesn't have many resources as well, but still mining at 3 bases fully, and I still think he has resources all of his bases. So mine is still only on 2, and he's losing a lot more forces, because most of effort's losses, I admit, are Guardians, which are heavy investment, but other than that, he's been utilizing mostly Zerglings and a few Defilers, and some random lurkers alongside as well. But so with just that, he's done a great job yet again. Gonna be seeing some Zerglings coming into that 6 o'clock position, just randomly harassing everything, and Midas still trying to stay in this game, trying to do the damage he needs to do. Finally seeing the Ultralisk Cavern up, and effort been on the upgrades this entire game, been just forcing heavy on the upgrades. So just get that armor and that speed upgrade on those Ultras, and they're going to be a heavy force to deal with. Ready to see weapons doing Carapace 3 upgrades on those ground forces for effort. So with just a few upgrades, Utilisk will have 3-5 with speed upgrade, and they're just going to be so incredibly deadly, going to be able to do such an incredible amount of damage and soaking. There's no science fields out there, so your radiates will not come into play. We're now going to be seeing a drop here at the 6 o'clock. One overload going to go down before it manages to drop it. Two overloads going to go down before they drop their payload. Second one, actually, third one not going to be able to do much. One mine going to pick off most of the stuff that gets dropped. One overload is going to fly past and not do much of anything. Going to try to go for the main mid to get something there accomplished. Meanwhile, a lot of Zerglings running towards the 3 o'clock position. Effort knows that if he denies one of these bases, he's going to be in the game. He's going to be in a very good position. They're going to start up by attacking the supply depot. Effort, meanwhile, Midas, meanwhile, actually completely ignoring that. Mines being dragged in. Ooh, Effort has to be very careful. One vulture coming in, not going to be enough to pick off all of these Zerglings, but hopefully maybe get them close enough to the mines to get picked off by those. But I think enough cracklings here to start picking off a lot of SCVs, and Midas, I think, is slowly yet again just not managing to break the control that Effort has on this game, losing quite a few SCVs here at the 3 o'clock position. Still has those 2 bases mining, and doesn't want to stretch himself too thin by trying to pick up an additional one, because Effort fully utilizing maneuverability of the Zerg. Going to go for a huge drop here on the 6. A lot of overlords, several of them I assume fakes. Just mostly Zerglings and lurkers dropping down. Don't see a single defile or SCVs coming off the line, but they're just going to get slaughtered by lurkers. Why'd they come out on the left side instead of running towards the right? A lot of SCVs being pulled down. And the commands are going to stay because it just has to get floated up to stay alive. But still, that's mining that Midas needs. Going for this, trying to go for this heavy tech army. He's just landing himself in trouble. Ultras with 3-3 upgrades so far. As soon as their ultra-specific upgrades kick in, they're just going to be a deadly force along the side of those cracklings. Effort going to try to reestablish the 12 o'clock position, and Midas just hasn't done the damage. He stayed in the game. He's been forced to play extremely defensively, and now he's lost one of his main mining bases. And we're going to be seeing a bunch of Ultras and Zerglings in Overlords flying all over the map, and wondering whether the 3 o'clock position actually going to be the next target. The 12 o'clock going to get denied yet again by Midas, but denying bases is not what he needs to do, because Effort can still stay on these 5 that he has. Okay, only mining off 3 of them now, but he can still stay on that because he's denying mining for his opponent. Going to go for an ultra drop here at that 6. 5 on the armor, and despite the weapons 3, that's still a lot of armor. It's still a lot of damage soaking that those ultras can do. Mind dragging, not quite accomplishing the mind drag into those Goliaths at the 3 o'clock position. But still, Midas has lost so many of his forces that I just don't see him staying in the game. He's actually picked up the middle without noticing, kind of hoping to basically hide something in plain sight. It actually seems to be working because all the Zerglings just kind of milling around in the middle. I finally think Effort actually spotted something there. Should have done so now at this point, at 6 o'clock. And Midas desperately trying to stay in the game. But I think it's not too far off from a GG at this point because Effort has absolute control, has Ultras all over the map at this point, and Midas just has not done the damage. This entire game he's done no economic damage aside from the denial of bases. He never managed a successful drop. He never managed to do enough damage. Effort with the insult there near the middle with a hatchery. And we do see that grimace for actually waving at his face, Effort, and we do see that very much Midas, standard Midas grimace when he loses the game, kind of like you get to see a really nice look at his teeth. I mean, honestly, I love Effort. He has a lot to prove as a title holder right now from last season. Has a lot to prove in both OSL and MSL, I feel. Well, Midas is a guy that I really enjoy watching, and I'm kind of wish he kind of would have gotten pitted up against an easier player in the round of 16, so I could see him in a best of 5. But what are you going to do if it is his fate to lose against Effort here? Then that's just the way it is. But, you know, it's kind of hard when you can't really decide which player to root for, so that's the way it goes. Effort taking the win in the first set, and I do believe that next week we're going to have the rest of the sets between these two guys. That's just the way the new format, funky format in the MSL works. So, GG guys, Ranching Out, that's listening. Hope you enjoyed. This is the first set in round of 16. Going to bring you the rest soon enough.